Yes. Okay, that's command. Good day, everyone. Welcome to our second panel, Novel Battlefield, as part of Cyber Scotland Week. Today, I will present myself. My name is Maxim Sitnichenko, and I'm CCO of EVA Automation. I'd like to extend our gratitude to our investment aware partner in the UK, Alexander Cherny, who is presenting here. And I have a pleasure to announce that today's presentation will be delivered by our CTO, Sergei Simonenko. So please feel free to ask a question during the presentation. Just raise your hand or put it in chat. And in the end of the presentation, there will be additional time for the questions. It's again.
Yeah. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Sergei Simonenko from EVA Automation. I'm CTO of this company, and let's start the second part, novel battlefield, defending operational technology with EVA ICS. So today we will going to talk about attackers, about cyber crimes and how to prevent, especially in high energy and heavy industry. So let's start from intro. The most famous infrastructure attacks. So the first attack claimed to be like it was cyber attack, was attack in 1982 on Siberian gas pipeline. It was an explosion, and Soviet Union claimed it was a software intrusion. It's actually hard to believe what software they used, but it's a history. Okay, the next probably is a very famous attack. Going more close to nowadays, and it was called Stuxnet, and probably made by rumorly made by Israel special forces on Iranian nuclear facilities, and it was made using some malware or actually a virus. And in 2012 it was attack on Saudi Aramco, and next we going to Ukraine. Actually, in years 2015 and 2016, there were lots of blackout in Ukraine, and actually, it probably was maybe even definitely some kind of Russian hacker groups, and they made a lot of blackouts in Ukraine, attacking the tech company we are actually cooperating with in Ukraine, and causing these disasters. The next, actually, the pretty big attack was on Kemery Water Company in Florida, and it's one of the most famous infrastructure attacks because it was just huge. Because actually, water companies, they are very vulnerable. Because I will tell about it later, because they usually have SCADAs for some reason. Based on my experience, especially water companies, especially small, like facilities, they have for some reason SCADAs open to the internet. I don't know why. It just coincidence. So the next was virus Petya, also in Ukraine. So actually, you see lots of attacks were in Ukraine because Russians probably prepared their aggression and trained to attack critical infrastructure and so on. So we fortunately we are in Europe, and some of us, and we can actually see how it goes and protect us before it will happen in our countries. So the next one is actually Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack in the United States, but usually ransomware software is not used to attack critical infrastructure, because the ransomware then usually ransom some money in cryptocurrencies. So it maybe was just a coincidence, but it was actually a huge disaster in this pipeline. So we can consider is a cyber attack. So let's go next. So the most important thing that changed from 90s that hacker groups has become more and more government controlled. In 90s it was just a hobby, and actually it was a hobby because there was even no internet banking usually, and hackers could not steal anything valuable. So after actually things started to change, government started having more and more activity in the internet, and communication companies, industrial companies, energy companies, everything moved to the internet, and internet started to be like a battlefield. So hacker groups are becoming more and more government controlled because the same actually from movies from 90s. It was like a science fiction when a talented hacker gets arrested by government agents and gets a job instantly. Now it's kind of reality because hackers, they usually are not arrested, of course, but they do some like semi-criminal activity, for example, with ransomware, with malware, and they are like watched by the government, and they also forced to cooperate. Actually, there is a very famous journalist, Brian Krebs. I can give a link maybe later in chat, so you can read this guy. He's investigating crimes in the internet since for the last 20 years, probably. Very cool guy. So the internet is now as a battlefield, and they target energy sector, heavy industry, financial institution, of course, e-government we have now, transportations and communications. So actually, when an attack is successful, the damage could be even worse than from bombing. So let's go next. So we have mistake this presentation actually. So the first target is about personal. The first target is usually always a personal. Actually, I was asked a good question yesterday. Why should we trust our personal when there's the same guys who work in cloud like providers? So why should we trust our personal more? I can give you some example. For example, if you transfer books, if you transfer a bag of books in the city, you can use public transport. It's no problem. If your books get stolen, it's not a critical disaster. You just buy new books and everything is good. But if you transfer a lot of cash or, I don't know, Picasso painting, you will definitely not use public transport. You will use some armored van. You will call collectors and ask them to help you, and go with this Picasso painting with some guys with guns to protect you. The same about cloud. They give you public transport and they give you the same level of security. And unfortunately, there is no like dedicated cloud which can give you additional security for additional money. For example, putting the servers in some really safe place, and working with HR to hire more like verified specialists, like for example government agencies do. And so you can't just use the same cloud for like for your iPhone application server and for nuclear plant, because the value is really different. And people, actually, personal is the primary target since probably Kevin meeting attacks in 80s or even in 70s. I don't know, really, I don't remember. And personal is the most vulnerable, usually, target. Um, because people can be blackmailed, people can be forced to do something, and so on. And people are just people. There is some good example about security. What gonna happen if you increase minimal password length from 8 symbols to 20? Security will dramatically decrease in your company. Why? Because 8 symbol password can be easily remembered, and if you increase length to 20, it will be written everywhere on monitor stickers, in people's smartphones, on some papers, and everywhere. So actually, when meeting started his business, he usually um, explored companies like corporate trash cans. So corporations, they just threw away lots of documentation and there were passwords. So security should be reasonable. Don't push a lot on personal. Personal need to have like short but strong passwords they can able to remember. They don't need to write down. And one of solution actually EVA ICS can offer, as already mentioned yesterday, we offer dedicated terminals, we will offer embedded passwordless kiosks, so people cannot do anything on this computer except doing their job, because power plant operator, he need to watch SCADA, not to read news. The next one is the next target is actually SCADA HMI interfaces. Sorry guys, if you someone have questions, you can write them to chat. I will ask some. I will answer some during this during like my speech, and
I'm monitoring this the chat.
yeah, and the rest at the end. So SCADA HMI interfaces is the next target. Yesterday we explained there will be recording, of course, on EVA ICS channel on YouTube. So everything should be put on VPN, everything should be closed from outside, but you just can't believe how many SCADAs are open to the internet. When Ukrainian war have started, there were lots of hacker volunteer groups, and I even consulted some. And we found, you can't believe how many SCADAs we found, just facility SCADAs in Russia, which were opened to public, and some of them even had default passwords installed. So,
admin.
sorry.
Admin. It's like,
Yeah, something like this. Usually you just Google about default password and that's all. So it's security in this sector is really a disaster. The good news is only security is bad in small companies and small facilities. Of course, big facilities, big power plants, they have security specialists. They have at least DevOps, which can change default passwords and so on. So the clouds actually are the third target. They are less because you can't just break cloud. Cloud they have no they have vulnerable personnel, and they have vulnerable structure from inside, but they can't be attacked from outside. You cannot hack like I was offered by my friends, can you hack someone's Instagram? No, I can't, because Instagram security from outside is really good, because it's a website used by lots of people, and they closed all security holes long time ago. And the same about infrastructure clouds. When you get some cloud service like pops up from Amazon, you can be sure it's really secured from outside. You can't be sure about it inside. So let's go next. And a solution is actually to keep everything on edge and use the same policies you are applying to your personal. So next, for now, let's talk about authentication. So second factor authentication for now is an obligation. In EVA ICS, for example, we have second factor for everything. If you connect Microsoft Windows domain, if you connect any authentication provider, and if you use local passwords, you always can turn on second factor authentication. Use like standard TOTP. It's pretty secure, and actually, it's a mandatory thing nowadays because it's not so annoying as 20 character passwords. 20 character password. The next one about smart cards and tokens. Back in my days when I started like career in IT, a smart card was a computer it's also a computer, like a dedicated computer which keeps your case, but you can't open a smart card without a pin. What about now? The majority of FIDO tokens, for example, have anyone seen YubiKey? There is no password. You just need to insert this token and you need to touch it. And if you touch it, when you touch it, actually, it gets opened and sends all the keys. It gets inside directly as a second factor authentication. So it's just ridiculous. I think it's useful for students to protect their books in the internet, but not for critical infrastructure. Of course, critical tokens, they need to have PIN, and it's really hard on nowadays market to find something protected by PIN or password. Actually, it was a long story about smart card tokens, because why Force token had become less popular. The problem was in Microsoft Windows, because all token vendors they provided libraries in 34-bit, and when Windows started to switch to 62, these libraries became incompatible with new software. So approximately to year 2005, in big corporation, like using smart cards and token was a mandatory thing. But after many just dropped this because of software incompatibility of 64 bits, and now this starting to be. Of course, there were like companies, like big companies, who really care about security. They fixed all these problems with lots of pain. But now this market starting to grow again, but tokens are really insecure. So everyone can steal your token and just touch it and have access to everything. The next one is to avoid using biometry. Avoiding using biometry is there is lots of new technologies which can collect your biometry and which can use your biometry. From the first fingerprint scanners, like industrial scanners, there always was like slim, and you need to slide your finger to scan. But after we got lots of consumer scanners, when you need just to touch it and it scans your finger. And first fingerprint sensors, they were hackers were able to hack them with a sausage. Like with a sausage, you put fingerprint on a sausage and you can hack it. Of course, scanners have become more and more smart, But the problem is that biometric data is already collected. It's already collected by attackers, and you can't just change it. So it's biometry authentication sector is always a war between simulation of biometric, for example, face model or finger model or so on, or eye model, and improved scanners which reject like fake and artificial models. But the problem is that actually biometry cannot be changed, so attacker just can build the more advanced model and apply the information he has got. There is a very good story about collecting biometry. Maybe Alexander will tell it. About the instant photo books in the UK.
Yeah, it's famous case when in one photo box a few years ago, you can find this information in some newspaper and news in media. It was case when one guys from East organized some private delivery company to UK, and from dozen of trips he delivered special equipment, special mission for spy activities, and he infected photo box in supermarket where all people from small town in UK use just for photo, for passport, for BRP, for all documents. And after 2 years, he collect all biometric data about most of all locals. So after this, he tried to break biometric security system in the nearest electric station, nuclear station, for controlling system of this electric station. It was a very famous case, and it showed to us how important to be careful with our data, all data, even finger prints, our face, and if you know, even Facebook top managers use a special lips for and stick special sticks.
Cover the cameras, yeah.
So be careful in this, because for small and medium enterprise, it's very expensive and very huge cost for restarted business after same attacks. And at first, we should be careful, like individuals and with your workers. We should work in this about password on the stickers, yeah. But also we should know about now all business in our time of hybrid war, all business on the dangers and on the attacks, because all business, all information now, it's also weapon. So
actually, here in European Union, I don't know about the UK. Here we are obliged to give our biometric data to the government. Like they can make a photo is for. They started to do it 100 years ago, but from year probably 2015, you need also to provide your fingerprints when you get new ID, and so actually government keeps this somewhere in their databases, and unfortunately, these databases are really unreliable. They're really unreliable. Government workers are sometimes underpaid, or they also can be forced to give this data, and this data is usually in some years it becomes available really probably in any country. So if you give your biometry to someone in third-party database, you can consider one day it can be stolen. So don't use it, at least for your authentication systems. For example, in my lab, I have a biometrical lock on a door, but it's a second door. So first one I use like security key, and the second I can open with my finger just to impress my visitors. Well, I have biometry, so it's just a toy, but not a practical thing. Absolutely. And we already discussed passwords. Passwords need to be rememberable. You cannot force your employers to remember long passwords. They will just don't do it. So let's go next.
There was also issue with here with
I can provide actually lots of examples about biometry. There is new virus, fortunately now only in Asia, which infects your phone, mobile phone camera, and collects your face 3D model. And in Asia, especially in Vietnam, Thailand, they have new authentication system in financial organizations to identify you by your face. And lots of people already lost their money just because virus collect this model, and after they can make an artificial one.
I was thinking about the case in here in Czech Republic where Datova Sklanka, this application, they forced users to change the password every 3 months.
Oh,
because the people everybody started like all having like very simple password or writing down on some papers, and they change it like after a few years and realize
yes, that's a brilliant example of over security. And just a little note, this new malware is called Gold Factory, which is attacking people in Asia. And about password policy, you need to change your password. You need to change your password every 3 or 6 months. When I was security administrator, for example, if we have like 3 months scheduled, not like all users need to change their password in on the 4th day of March. So 2nd day of March, you get lots of complaints. I lost my password. I cannot log in because I changed it, but I forgot. And that's not a good policy, because good system, it should actually prevent brute forcing passwords. It should use good password protecting algorithms like PPKDF2 and other like even Decrypt or something simpler but reliable to prevent like a rainbow and a tables attacks or brute forcing this password even if a hash is lost. So users are not obliged to change their passwords. Like I have one password for 10 years and I'm happy with it. I just add a couple of characters every year, so it becomes longer and longer secure, more and more secure. And I never change it. I never change it because it's just useless. Because it's just don't put your password somewhere and it's stored in plain text or in just usual shell hash. You have some password list just for websites, and one password for work, one for websites. That's mandatory. So let's go next. About event.
We also should talk about new very modern intention about when you work with online workers or some services online. Now we have a situation when any biometric can be copy or create new artificial person by artificial intellect. Now, if you not use personal identification and verification of person, you have chance to make deals with bot. So when you open your,
Even here, you just became a bot with one click.
you're really bot, yeah. So part of digital securitization and security we should talk about personal verification of all your workers or your managers. You should be sure what this is a real person with real documents. Sometimes it's help when, as Maxim told to us, when person show passport and make a photo with passport and use biometric passport. It's one of the part of system of digital security.
To be short, like 5 years ago, when someone started asking you to lend him money on the internet and social networks, the verification was really simple. Just call me and I'll make sure that you. Now it doesn't work. It doesn't work with voice. Sometimes it's work with video call, so you can trust your friend's face, but it's just temporary. Maybe in 2 or 5 years, things will change, and we will have like real-time face swap, which will be you can just realize is it artificial face or real one. So let's go to event accounting. We talked about it a lot yesterday. So you need to collect all user actions. You need to collect all user actions users are doing at workplace, and you need to store them to unified database. Collecting all successful failed authentication attempts. There's a lot of systems audited which just ignore unsuccessful authentication attempts. They just don't write them to log files. That's just I'm talking about like serious industrial systems. So if someone don't provide correct password, maybe they will log in like user administrator password is incorrect. But if they don't provide like correct login name, some system just ignores these events, but it can be really important. Also need to collect critical machine-to-machine actions, because API calls become more and more popular. Any system has now some API, and actually about API keys. API keys are let's talk 5 minutes about API keys. API keys are secured by default because they are server generated. They are pretty long. They can't be brute forced with rainbow tables. They can't be like duplicated on different resources. So everywhere when possible, better to give user like authentication token if a user session, or just safely give API key to use with like machine-to-machine calls. And API keys usually can be even stored. Some systems store them encrypted, but sometimes you need like when a machine is like automation system is doing some calls, It sometimes is need to have API keys like in plain text to make authentication like with another system. So it's about API keys is a really different story. You can even sometimes store them as plain text, and if your system is get compromised, you need just to regenerate everything and everything works fine. But it doesn't work with passwords really, because if you store passwords not in plain text but is in vulnerable hashes, passwords are more more related to human, and that's a problem. Because people use same passwords everywhere. It's hard for people to remember new passwords, and we have the same story when password became longer. We have the same story when password is changed. When a password is changed, it's written everywhere. It's written everywhere, and it's a good target for an attacker. And that's actually all, because this presentation is a little bit shorter than it was before, but we already spent about 40 minutes, and we can start a little discussion if you have any questions.
Main question from me: where money for your consumer in your products?
Everywhere.
Actually, we help to save the money.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about prices.
You mean
elimination of destroyed systems?
Where is the money in security? It's very like I have lots of friends which are like security engineers, and they always complain they are underpaid because people don't care about security. Like, you don't care about backups before the first drive fail. You don't care about security before the first attack. You never.
And you can see the result on the Kyivstar case a few months ago in Ukraine. So they still didn't recover 100%.
People in other country and other companies will find lots of explanation. We are not in Ukraine. We are not Kyivstar. We are smarter. We have better computers. We have better stuff. We don't need all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So now the next question.
Just until the
so next question. Your offer to the market. I know your product. I read a lot of, maybe in 10 words, your general offer to market, and where your auditory, where your point, and where your client.
Actually, customers in energy sectors like our system because security model is simple, but it's really strong. So everything is encrypted from the server side, from machine-to-machine calls, and people don't need to, engineers don't need to apply lots of security by themselves. There are good guidelines how to apply security in like edge cloud. There are good guides how to apply TLS for external calls, and everything just works out of the box. And people really, in good industrial system, your customer should not care about security absolutely. It's a problem of a system vendor to care about it, to update everything, to make regular code audit, to make sure everything is compatible with security standards like FIPS 140 and so on. And we have 0 break attempts in 5 years, and I hope not in 5, in 6 years. Yeah, in 6 years. So I hope this trend will continue. So if someone could hack our system, it's probably because of a human factor only. But we are trying to minimize this also as much as possible.
Yeah, so basically, our platform is tailored to energy sector, to any kind of energy sector, to high energy, to renewables. So yeah, and there's another issue is on renewables, that the majority of the hardware is made in China, and the software they provide, it's also not very secure because it all in China clouds. So maybe it's good to duplicate it or change the hardware to non communist related countries.
Yeah. So we have a special article about security. It's really simple how to apply everything, and everything is made out of the box. So strong secure password policies are applied. Strong cryptographic libraries are used. Unfortunately, we are still using OpenSSL 1, but the software is ready for OpenSSL 3. Because OpenSSL 1 had no critical vulnerabilities yet, since it's dropping support in November, but I believe lots of software still relies on OpenSSL 1, so there will be security patches for long. But we are already on OpenSSL number 3 compatible, version 3 compatible, so and OpenSSL 3 has become, I'm not sure, but about Ubuntu 22. Yeah, like all automation systems, we provide like versatile binaries for Linux, but for platform dedicated, we still provide for Ubuntu 20. Well, we will switch to 22 probably when 24 will be released. And Ubuntu 24, 22 has been certificate for FIPS 143. So this is the next generation of NIST standards, and it's more stronger, and actually we already support it. So if any customer need, like right now they work, for example, for energy sector in the United States, or they just have a nuclear plant somewhere in Europe, because there are of course national standards by people, a lot of people apply to FIPS, a lot of security engineers, and they will tell us tomorrow, like, guys, we need a special build for FIPS 143, so it will be ready in several hours. So from technical side, security is just not a perfect. You can't be perfect, but it's good. But from human side, it can be unpredictable always. We can consult. We always consult customers about security, but some, for example, they use. I will definitely don't tell you who exactly, but some use the same API key, like we use a shared key to connect different EVA ICS nodes together. And there is a mandatory security requirement to have different keys for every pair of nodes. But people just ignore it, and they use the same default key for all nodes. Wow, I have cluster, I have it formed, everything works. Why do I need to care about some keys? And the problem is actually when an attacker, let me just open some replication page. There is good. There is not replication, like for a single level is enough. Let's go to multi-level. So with single key, any node which was attacked and hacker has got like access inside an intruder, he can control everything if you have one key set on all nodes. So it's very important to have like different keys and restrict. We also have not only user access control list, but also node access control list. For example, like secondary node, it can never read information from top nodes, or if you have some different topology, it's really flexible to set up. So this is about like market opportunities, and this everything works after the box, so people don't need to care. They need just to follow instructions. They need to follow instructions how to set up and how to make this secure.
Yes, the platform is open source, so you can try it.
Yeah. The majority of like critical components are is open source, so customers can do like independent code audit and make sure there is no backdoors, there's no critical bugs, there's no critical problems with like third-party libraries dependencies. So everything can be everything is open, everything can be reviewed, and actually the components, the closed source components we provide, we also provide source code, but under additional agreement for mission critical. We even we even push customers to do this, because when customers have a copy of our source code, we are sure they won't after complain us like, guys, you had problem in your code and we were attacked. Because no, customers need to have, if there is a enterprise customer who pays us like a yearly subscription for enterprise version, he should have everything. He should have everything. He should be able to like build the platform by himself, because lots of platforms, they just disappeared from the market. And it's not a problem just of small companies. You know, there is a special website called Killed by Google. So how many products were developed or bought by Google and after they were shut down? So for critical infrastructures, it's very important to have like all source code of your product and have at least one guy who is able to build it. And it's more about like, not about traditional security, but security of your work. But we can also include this in this presentation. So that's probably all for today. And if there's no questions, guys, yesterday we had lots of questions, but today, like, people are really to be honest, I'm also a little bit tired after yesterday, because I'm not a presentation guy. I have my, like, as I always tell my colleagues, I got my master in computer science to talk with computers, not with people, and so I'm always tired to talk with people, even via the internet. So okay, let's then finish for today. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
thank you, Sergey, for the presentation.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for
everyone.
watching, everyone. And the recording will be available about in 2 days or 3. So thank you for watching, and see you again on new presentation. We will probably, because security is a little bit really boring topic. Really boring topic, because people care about security. You need to be either like a hacker or security engineer, or just keen on this. But for normal, for normal IT guy, for normal, not even for IT guy,
non-IT guy.
From non-IT guys, security is something. Oh, I have my password on my phone, and that's all about the security. I know, and Apple and Samsung, and they care about my security.
We'll manage it.
Yeah, they care about my security. If my phone got hacked, I go to Apple Store and buy a new one, and restore and resend from Apple Cloud. And actually, I have my one friend of actually, he was IT guy, and he used Google Photos a lot. And one day he lost all his photos for 10 years. I don't know what happened, but
You
he
never-
had no backups. He had no backups. Actually, one little more advice: if you guys still use clouds, even GitHub, don't forget to make backup of your GitHub, because GitHub they claim they made this backup in on the North Pole a couple of years ago, but I believe nobody here has access to this data. So if you don't want to make like a trip to your next vacation trip to the North Pole, better to back up your even GitHub account locally. It's easy.
It's more expensive than make backup.
Yeah, so it's less, but it's less expensive than go to the North Pole to like to get their backups, and 2 years ago like outdated.
Super, Sergey.
So
Thank you for presentation.
thank you and
Thank you,
goodbye.
man.
See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
See you
Goodbye.
next time. Bye.